everybody. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Livestream. This is December 7th of 2019, and today we're live streaming about Pixel Slate, #1 Pixel book in all of North America and Kazakhstan. 1 second, I must tweet photo to make sure everyone is listening. 1 sec, please. Okay, so how is everybody doing today? You all great? Is everyone having a good week? Are you guys excited for the weekend? I'm just going to send a little tweet out letting everybody know the stream is now live. How is my Discord crew doing? Anybody from Discord in here? Good evening, Simon. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. It is time to talk about the Pixel Slate. All right, let's do this. So, again, can you speak Arabic? Shukran. I can say thank you, and I can say bitaki inglesi. That's pretty bad Arabic, but I can say a couple of things. All right, so I've been using the Pixel book for, I don't know, a few weeks now, and one of the things I wanted to do is see how far I could get with this thing to make it my main device. I know it's not 100% possible just because of my workflow, but I wanted to see how well I could do, because you know what? We're moving to a tablet life, and a lot of people are saying this is the future of computing. And whether you think that's true or not, I still think we're far away from that happening. And not because the processing power is there, it's just, I just think each company has their own vision of it, and the way they're going about it is kind of backwards. I like the Microsoft approach. They're sticking to what, Windows is not, the best operating system, but it's good enough. But yet their form factor for a 2-in-1 makes the most sense. Anyways, I digress. What's up, VJ Tech? What's up, Lord Max Thor? What is up, everybody? So just a couple of things before I go through each phase. And I talked about this in my iPad video. I named basically 4 types of people that like iPads or should buy an iPad and the way they should use it on their daily life. And you know what? The one thing that I did notice about the iPad community is that there's a lot more passionate people about iPads compared to Pixel books. And that says a lot. That says that there's a lot of professional people. Sorry, let me rephrase that. There's a lot more professional people excited about iPads compared to the professional people who are excited about Chromebooks. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But before I get into this, I just want to give you guys a quick rundown on my experience with the Pixel book or Pixel Slate first. First and foremost, you're supposed to be able to connect your Pixel 3 via Bluetooth to your Chrome Slate or your Pixel Slate. And to this day, it still can't connect via Bluetooth. I had the exact same issue with the Pixel 2 and the Pixel book. Bluetooth is still a hot mess. And even if you're like listening to music and every once in a while, it just disconnects. It's just a very terrible experience. This is something that the Pixel book and Pixel Slate has been struggling with for the past couple of years. Well, the Pixel Slate just came out. But you know what I mean, okay? The next thing, this form factor, okay, whenever you have to take a tablet and attach a folio to it, and this goes for the iPad too, whenever you have to do that, I think it lowers the level of satisfaction of the experience, because this is janky. Like having to attach this like flappy little thing to your Pixel book is really annoying. And like when you close it, it's like loose. It just doesn't feel good. And this goes for the iPad Pro. I think the only company that got it right for this kind of form factor is the Surface lineup, because you have that metal hinge on the back and you can adjust it, giving you good lapability. Whereas this, it feels kind of janky on your lap. And because this bottom portion here, I can't show it to you because the second screen is actually the Pixel book screen. The bottom portion here is loose, so it doesn't feel secure. So you get this terrible feeling when you're using it on your lap. So not the best experience, which means I actually prefer the way the Pixel book feels when you're using it on a daily basis. All Pixel products have Bluetooth issues. Both my 2XL and 3XL did. I agree. I mean, Bluetooth on the Pixel and the Pixel book is a dumpster fire, unless you're just using like regular headphones with like your actual smartphone. But like when you're trying to connect stuff to the actual Pixel Slate, it's an issue. All right, the next thing I don't like, this is a laptop. I mean, to use this as a tablet is not as enjoyable as using an iPad as a tablet. It's better than Windows. Like I'd rather use this as a tablet over a Windows tablet, but still the iPad is much more enjoyable. And that's just because apps are better made for the iPad in that tablet experience. I find that if I'm using this device, unless it's just to like watch movies, I have to have a keyboard connected. Like no matter what, a keyboard needs to be connected to this for me in order to have a full-fledged experience. Jermaine, welcome my boy. Everybody, concept creator in the house. Red Skull, what is going on? You just missed my beautiful intro. Tom, he is back in action. Thank you for being here, people. I appreciate it. Just remember, I'm watching all of your comments on the computer over here, so I'll try to chime in and answer them as I go on. Okay, so the 4 groups of people that I was talking about in my iPad Pro. The first group was the journalists, the people who just do their homework, who basically anyone who's just buying a product to do a lot of writing, browsing the internet, and basic productivity stuff. I think if you're in that group, the Pixel Slate or Pixel Book or a Chromebook in general is a much better device than an iPad. If you're just strictly doing that, I just think it makes a lot more sense. I mean, as a laptop, it feels better. You have less issues. You actually have a full-fledged browser compared to a mobile browser like you do on the iPad, which is never complete. You go to a website, you're not sure if you're going to get the mobile experience or if you're going to get the full desktop experience, whereas on this, you're always going to get the desktop experience. Plus, if you noticed here on the desk, I have a dongle connected to it where I have an HDMI cord. If I plug in a mouse or if I plug in a fan, if I plug in anything, a hard drive, the Pixel Book is going to detect it, and I have the ability to access all of that stuff, which you can't do on an iPad without jumping through hoops. Okay, so John, I'm happy you're getting paid. That is a good thing. That means you're not on the street, and I don't want you to be on the street. Tom, thank you for moderating the chat. And Unbox Vision, hello. I was just in Austria. I know it's not Germany, but they speak German there just a couple of weeks ago, and it's a beautiful place. So if you're a journalist, a writer, or someone who's doing basic productivity and you're debating between this and the iPad Pro, get this. This is just a much better experience. Like let's do an example. Let's do an example, okay? I'm gonna throw up the Pixel, I'm gonna throw up the little web page here. So let's say you're writing a document, okay? You have Android built into it. So I can go ahead and load up Microsoft Office, right? Or Microsoft Word, for example. So I got Word right here. And this is a full-fledged Microsoft Office experience. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can still type on this. Now, the one big issue I had with the iPad Pro was that you can't have more than multiple Word applications open at the same time. So what you have to do, and this goes for the Pixel Book as well, is let's say you want to have 2 documents like beside each other. You have to have Microsoft Word open. And then what you have to do, actually, let's see if we can open up 2 versions of Microsoft Word. I doubt you can, but let's try it. Because if you can, that'd be pretty awesome. No, you can't. So what you have to do is basically open up Microsoft Word, then go to your web browser, and then go to Office 365 and log into it through the web. And because you're using a full-fledged version of Chrome OS, you have the ability to have 2 documents open at the same time. So I'm not going to sign in, but you get the point. So like, for example, if I have this open right here, I can hold down this to multitask, put that to the left side, and I would have basically my Word documents beside each other where I can copy and paste or whatever the situation is. At least you have that ability. Yo, Matt, are you giving one of this? I don't know what one of this is. Like a kiss? I'll give you a kiss if you want a kiss. Hello from Bangladesh. Thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate it. Is the hot people high on this? I am from Austria, living in Johannesburg City. Both beautiful places. You guys are all the best. So that's how Microsoft Word would work if you want to have a multiple document situation. Again, exactly the same on the iPad. But the reason why I still think this is better for journalists and whatever, anybody who writes or does homework, is because, again, it's the full browser experience. Now, we talk a lot. The thing is, when we talk about iPads, when we talk about tablets, when we talk about laptops, at least in the YouTube community, we're always talking about creatives. Like, creatives are the only people in the world. But there's another group of people out there that need a specific kind of laptop, and they can't do that kind of stuff on an iPad. I'm talking about developers. Developers are also creatives. I mean, they don't get usually categorized as creatives, but they really are. Like, if you think about it, these developers are actually creating amazing things. They are programming something. They are using logic, they're using creativity to create beautiful stuff. And even though we don't associate it with sketching and drawing and creating video, it's still an amazing thing that people do. And the one thing that the iPad can't do is program. The beauty about the Pixel Slate is that, or this, again, this is not just the Pixel Slate, this is like any Chromebook, you can actually program on it. Someone just said the Surface can do it as well. Absolutely, the Surface can do it as well. I mean, it's a Windows laptop. You can download Android Studio. But it was kind of fun to install Linux on this. So the way it works is to install Linux on this laptop, what you have to do is basically go into your settings. I've already installed it, but I'll tell you, just type in Linux, okay? And there's a little line here that says Linux. And then once you click on turn on, it'll basically install Crostini, which is like a shell of Linux. And then once you have that shell installed, you'll basically have a terminal available to you any single time. And I used to use Linux when I was younger because, you know, I'm old. And it was just like a fun experience to like go through that again. So, you know, I'm in Linux right now. I have Android Studio installed, so I can go ahead and start programming in Java. I can go ahead and start creating Android apps. And this is something you can't do on the iPad. So if you're a writer, a journalist, someone who programs, wants something a little bit different, this is going to do it for you. The iPad is not. Now, when it comes to actual creativity, like I'm talking about, not actual creativity, but the stuff that we're used to talking about, like drawing, sketching, and creating video, this is not the greatest device for it. I've edited a video on this. It's just not as a nice of experience compared to editing on a Windows laptop, a MacBook, or even an iPad Pro. I'd rather edit a video on an iPad Pro than edit a video on this. So for example, okay, let's actually edit a video right now. I'm gonna load it up. Hold on. I'm gonna take some questions right now. Why can't they just put the Snapdragon 850 in this? I wouldn't want the Snapdragon 850 in this at all. I'd rather have the 8CX. So much spec from Iran. Thank you. Okay, so I've edited a video on this, and you can do it in a few ways. You can either, there's no actual Chrome web plugin to edit a video, and to be quite honest, if there was, it'd be just like the worst experience ever. But you can do it in two ways. You can either install an Android app like Power Director, which I did here, or you can install other stuff on Linux. So you can install DaVinci Resolve, which I don't recommend doing on this. It's just very slow. I've tried it. And there's another one called KDE. Oh crap, what was it? KDE Live. It's a little bit more intensive. You have more flexibility, but the way it works is you can't load anything off an external drive. You have to bring everything in onto your Pixel Slate, which means you're gonna run out of space pretty quickly. So the easiest way to get you going like instantly is to use Power Director. So I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna load up Power Director right now. I have it installed. I love Apple, not Microsoft. I am Apple fanboy. You know what? You should never be a fanboy of anything. You should just love technology. When you become a fanboy, you become ignorant because then you start having issues with every other platform that comes out because you just envelop yourself in ways you shouldn't. You should always be open-minded, always. Okay, so here's another issue I've had with the Pixel Slate. So Power Director is not loading up, okay? It's just crashed. Now for me to get Power Director to work again, I have to reboot the device. So I'm gonna reboot it right now. Actually, hold on, it's doing something. Maybe I got lucky. Nope, I gotta reboot it again. So as you can see here, for editing video, it's not the best experience, but I'm gonna show you that you can do it. And again, like I said, I'd rather do this on an iPad or a Windows laptop. The question is, does it run Minecraft? No, it only runs Crysis, and that's it. That's 250,000 frames. So Red Skull says sometimes Power Director doesn't start on his either. And you know what? I've had a lot of issues with some Android apps not working, and I had to like reboot it. There was one situation where I actually had to power wash the device. That's Chrome OS terms for, reset your system in order to get apps working. Should someone that doesn't like Chromebooks buy this, but it's only going to do writing and searching? Yeah, so Fraylin, that's a great question. If you're just doing writing and searching and basic productivity, then 100%. I would rather have a Chromebook than an iPad any day of the week. If you're gaming, don't buy a Chromebook. I actually loaded up PUBG on this, and it was such a terrible experience. I'm Syrian, living in Montreal, Canada. Greetings to your lovely family. Stefan, thank you so much. Welcome to Canada. Hey, Tom, my website is not crap. You're crap. Let's not go savage on my website, okay, buddy? Tom is one of the most savage people I know, as you can see in his nickname. Okay, so let's try this again. round 2, we're going to load up Power Director and see if we can get this to work. All right, so it's working now. Just took me about a couple of tries. So I've already got a video loaded up. This is just a simple project. Actually, if Jermaine is still in here, he's going to know exactly what this is. A little teaser to his channel in the near future. So here's a project I've been working on. I'm going to go ahead and edit this project. So this is the amazing thing, okay? This is a 4K timeline. I haven't used any proxies. And the cool thing about Power Director, it gives you the ability to convert the media to a lower resolution. So as soon as you import that 4K footage, it's going to ask you if you want to, I don't know, downsample it to 1080p so you have a smoother timeline. For the sake of it, for the educational experience of this video, I decided to leave it in 4K to see exactly how it plays. So I'm going to press play and you guys can be the judge for yourself. Actually, you can't even hear that, can you? Okay, so you can't, I don't know if you can hear the volume. No, you can't hear the volume. There's no volume because of the way I have it hooked up. I forgot to import the audio settings into my, what's it called, OBS. But as you can see here, it's playing smoothly. Okay, so right now on this timeline, I have a transition coming up or a title card, Lenovo X1 Extreme. I have audio playing on the bottom. And if I fast forward it, so a little bit later, actually I should be using the pen to be cool. So let's say for example, I want to add something else, okay? So as you can see here, even if I scrub, it's actually pretty darn smooth, okay? Now I don't have too many color effects on this, so that could be one reason why it's running pretty smooth. But we're gonna take some raw footage, we're gonna put it on the timeline. This was recorded with an A7S2, and we're going to see how it runs after I put it in. So let's grab the footage, which I should have here already. I'm going to drag it, put it on the timeline. See, look right here. For better performance, do you want to convert this to Ultra HD video or to Full HD? I'm going to say use original, just so we can see how it runs. So this is the original. This is the original timeline. So I'm going to play it, and this is how it runs. Okay? Here's a little bit of scrubbing. A little slower. Not the best experience. Oh, did you see that little slap? So it's playing the raw footage on the timeline. This was shot in S-Log. So now, let's add some color correction to this and see how it plays. So we're going to add some color correction. So to do that, you tap on the clip. You go to Edit Tools. I'm going to add one of their pre-installed LUTs just to see how it looks. So let's do that. We're going to go to Color. Let's just add anything. Let's do Scenery, okay? Let's do for an autumn look. We're going to add this LUT right here. Boom. Autumn look installed. I don't recommend this LUT because it's not the best one, but you get the point. So I'm going to maybe, I don't know, change the brightness. So here's the thing. Like, this is very, very basic. With LumaFusion, you have a lot more control on the iPad. Power Director on Android is super basic. So if you're using this to edit video, you're only be doing very simple stuff. Like, this is all you can do for coloring. So I don't know, crank up the contrast for the fun of it. We'll make it a little bit less bright. We'll take the saturation, move it down. White balance, we'll just, I don't know, make it really yellow to look disgusting. And then we're gonna bring it back and look at it. Okay, so let's see. We now have a new clip. We have audio. Let's add a transition. So if you want to add a transition, use the cut tool, which you have right here on the top left. I can cut anywhere. So let's cut, I don't know. So I got to cut right here. And I want to add a transition. I'll put the transition right here. We'll do that. No, transition. I got to click on the clip. This, where is the transitions? Wow. No, that's not transitions. Back. Where are you, transitions? Here we go. Okay, so if I want to transition, I'm going to do something weird here. Let's do horizontal stretch. I don't know, zoom out. Actually, these are effects. This is not really a transition. So now when I get to this point on the timeline, it should zoom out. So here we go, play. Oh, look at that slowness. Slowing down a little bit. Zoomed out, should zoom back in. Okay, that transition did not work. That's not good. Let's delete that. Okay, anyways, the point is, you're not going to be using this to edit video all the time. And quite frankly, if you want a tablet to edit video, the iPad is still better. But obviously, still the best experience is on a PC, but it can be done on a Chromebook. It just needs to be very basic stuff. So that's video editing. And the cool thing is you can have up to 9 layers, which is great. You have different effects that you can use. You have tons of stuff that you can play with. I have music, everything. And then when you export it, you have the ability to export it to 4Ks directly to YouTube. The list goes on. All right. Time for the other cool thing about this device. Okay. So, like I said, a lot of people talk about creatives in the sense that they need to be sketches. Actually, you know what? Let's do artists first. Is this a good device if you're an artist? The short answer is it's decent if you're like an amateur artist, but if you're someone who like basically draws every single day, you're actually doing something a little bit professional on the go, you want something light, I still think you should aim for an iPad Pro because you have better apps on it like Procreate. So for example, if I want to draw on this, the experience is different depending on the app you use. So again, in order to draw on this, you have to use Android apps to supplement Chrome OS. You can't just do anything directly from Chrome OS. So there's only a couple of good apps. So the first one that I know, and this is great for students, is an app called Squid. This will give you the best. I already started drawing here, as you see. This will give you the best latency when you're using the pen. So for example, if I create a note, okay? Here's a blank note. I'm gonna put it back on this right here. The best thing about this is the latency. It has amazing latency, and I would say it's pretty on par with the iPad, like pretty darn close. But you don't get the same features you get with Procreate. It is very, very basic. This is a fantastic app if you're a student and you want to jot down notes because you can use specific types of paper depending on the class you're doing. So for example, if you're in math class, you can use a grid and you can go ahead and write out numbers. And the latency is fantastic. Great experience. But if you're an artist, you're very limited to the brushes you can use. You only have a few options. You don't have the same type of tools that you do have on Procreate. You don't have the ability to record what you were drawing, so you can't do, I don't know, time lapses of the drawings that you created. And then let's say, for example, you want to use something more professional, like, I don't know, Autodesk Sketchbook, for example. That's another app that a lot of people use. The latency of the pen ends up being different. So I load up Autodesk Sketchbook, and based on my experience here, is if I'm drawing something, it's just not the same. The latency ends up being significantly more, and you don't have that cohesiveness, like that, not cohesiveness, but that kind of experience you do on an iPad where the pen input is kind of the same on each app that the pen is used for. So again, if the bottom line is if you're someone who's drawing or sketching or an artist, stick to the iPad Pro. The Pixel Slate is fine for like writing down notes, maybe making a quick sketch, but I wouldn't make this my main device to draw on. No more paper cuts, that's correct. If you have any questions, hit me up on Discord. What's up, ZMAD? The pen jitters and the palm rejection is terrible. Actually, Fusion Harry, palm rejection is actually pretty good on this laptop. Definitely that's not true, but pen input is bad depending on the app you're using. The only beauty about the Pixel Pen is if you're doing stuff like in a web browser, and I can like circle something here. I'll give you an example. So let's say, I don't know, I'm in a web browser, for example. Let's say I go to The Verge right here for a second here. Let's say I go to The Verge, and I don't know, there's something on the web page that I like. I don't know what's something. Okay, here's a little icon. I can go ahead, circle the area, and then Google, well, didn't find anything. Let's find something else. I don't know. Let's go to Wikipedia. No. Let's just do anything here. So let's say I search for something. I don't know, animals. And I want to see, I'm not sure what this animal is. I think it might be Tom the Tech Savage. I can't tell. Most likely it is Tom the Tech Savage. but I need to know what it is. So what I do is I circle Tom, I think it's Tom, and then we find out what it is. And the pen will get, okay, the pen is not working. Let's try that again. Let's try Red Skull Pro. Here we go. Circle Red Skull. And there you go. So it's telling me this is from the National Zoological Park, which is where Alex lives, and that Alex is a camel. Didn't want to break this on the internet, but now you guys know the truth. You guys know the truth, okay? So that's the benefit of the pen. But again, as you saw, it's very specific. It doesn't work on everything, but it's there if you need it. To be quite honest, I would rather just push the Google Assistant button and ask it a question than circle something with this, because you don't know if it's going to hit or miss, and that's kind of inconvenient. So programming, very important. So as I mentioned before, if you're a Linux fan, which is one thing that a lot of reviewers don't talk about, that this laptop is great for that. So I can like boot up the terminal right here. So I type in terminal, I can boot it up. If it wants to boot up. Yes, you are. Well, we are all being exposed. You guys are. I'm calling you guys all out. Okay, calling you guys all out. Okay, so here's the terminal, for example. Okay, as you can see here, I've already installed Android Studio, and you have basically you can run pretty much everything on Linux. Well, not everything, but most of the stuff on Linux you can do on here. You just don't get access to an external drive. And if you want to bring anything to your Linux terminal, what you have to do is you got to go to your file manager. And here, and then there's a little section here called Linux files right here where my mouse cursor is. And what you have to do is basically drag that Linux file into Linux. You have to drag whatever you downloaded into Linux files, and then you can go ahead and install it. So again, you are jumping through hoops, kind of like you did on the iPad, to use Linux if you're doing any installations or running anything. Or you can download GNOME Locker. Is it GNOME Locker? Or GNOME, I forget what it's called, GNOME something, and basically it'll install as an app, and it'll basically install all the Linux apps for you that way, instead of having to do it manually, which is also very convenient. Okay, so I think the main takeaway is this. I feel like the Chromebook is the Frankenstein of computers. It doesn't really have one sole purpose. It's basically a bunch of stuff that's been, I don't know, kind of mismashed together to give you a little bit of everything. It doesn't do it very well. It's still very janky. And every time there's a patch released, you don't know if it's going to mess something up, improve the experience, or make it worse. My experience has been, you know what this feels like? One of Google's beta products. One of those products that they're continuously trying to improve on, but it's never perfect. There's always a little bit of bugs inside where at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, it's hard for me to use this in a professional environment, but if I was a student or an enthusiast, I would really love this thing. See, I actually enjoy, even with all of its bugs, I actually really enjoy using it. I love the fact that I can go from a full-fledged browser, jump into Linux, do something there, jump back into a browser, and if I need to supplement anything, I can do it on Android. Speaking of doing stuff on Android, if you're a photographer, same sort of idea. You have access to like Lightroom and all that stuff in the Play Store. The only thing I don't like is if you're using an app on the iPad, you get like a really great iPad app experience. If you're using an app on a Chromebook, it's hit or miss. So for example, I showed Word not too long ago, and it looks great. Like if you have it opened up, it looks like a fantastic experience. Like you load it up, you have the web page. This is what it would look like if you were using the actual desktop software. But then you load up something like, I don't know, for example, I load up Discord, okay? So I'm gonna load up Discord. Shameless plugin, get on the Discord server. You load up Discord and it just doesn't look well proportioned. The text is small. Everything is just very, very small, right? It's not utilizing that bigger screen because it's made for a mobile phone. And I think actually the best experience to show you guys this is actually Lightroom. So let's say you're a photographer. You're going to pull in some photos from the shoot you just did. You're going to open up Lightroom and then you're going to edit it here. So again, you're dealing with a mobile experience on a Chromebook, which is a bigger screen, which doesn't look the same. Let me log in. I just power washed this last night. Hold on. So as you can see here, hey Matt, I'm from India. Hey Bavaya, I'm from Canada. I really like your work and keep it up. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Honestly, I appreciate all of you. Every single one that takes the time to watch any of my videos, I really do appreciate it. So all the photos I have here, you load up from your drive. So let's say, for example, I load up this picture of my wife. Okay, so it's downloading the picture from Google Drive or from the Photos app. Okay, and you can do the same stuff you could do on Android in Lightroom. So I can go ahead, I can use the pen, I can basically use the presets, I can adjust things. So for example, I don't know, what do I want to do here? So this is done. Let's cancel that. Let's say I want to change the color. So, I can go ahead, change the white balance. I can make her, a little bit more warm or cooler. Once that's done, I can, let's say, patch things up. I can use the healing brush. I can go ahead. The problem is it's very, very small. Like compared to the iPad, I feel like I have to be very specific where I press on the screen. Whereas on an iPad, it's utilized better, right? So that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, you'll have basically access to everything, but it won't be at the best experience, except for the web browser. Like using Chrome on this is a much better experience than using mobile Safari on an iPad or an iPhone. And that same goes true for any regular Android tablet. What happened to our love? Tom, we always have love, even when we're being savage. You and I have that savage connection. Probably Chromecast. How's performance on it? So my performance has been pretty good. I haven't had any lag issues, but in all fairness, I never use this as a tablet, and I've heard people who've used this device as a tablet when it goes into tablet mode. It's been kind of an issue. The type of issues that I have are apps not loading, where I have to find myself rebooting the entire device. Other issues are, other issues are this, Android. Android being Android on a bigger screen. I mean, Android's never been great on a tablet, and this is pretty much a tablet. Probably Chromecast. Does the Chromebook have screen mirroring options for TV? Yeah, so right now I have it mirrored to my laptop. Like, this is what you're seeing on the screen here is a mirror, right? This is what a mirror looks like. But you can also extend the display, which you can't do on the iPad. So for example, if I want to make, if I want to have two displays, like let's say I want to hook up a monitor to this, you can do that with a Chromebook or a Pixel Slate, whereas on the iPad, you can only mirror the display, which is kind of limited. But I'm sure eventually they'll change that with iOS 13 or something. Wait, can you root it too? So that's the question. Why would you want to root this? I don't think you really need to. Can it run the Office Dinosaur Jump and Run game? I don't know what that is. Wait, can you root it too, especially for writing notes on the screen, not trying? How is the HD color accuracy? The color accuracy is fantastic on this. Much better than the Pixel Book. It has a better display, higher resolution, same screen size. I wonder if the Pixel Slate can Minesweep. That's a very great question. I mean, if there's Minesweep on the Android... Actually, you know what? I want to show you how poor this runs games. So if you're someone who values mobile games, do not buy a Chromebook because gaming on this is not that great. So for example, if I download PUBG, I think I have it installed already, but let's take a look. Yes, I do. So I'm going to load up PUBG, and I want to show you how slow it is on a Chromebook. It's not the best experience. In the meantime, I'm going to answer some of your questions. What would you recommend for an 8th gen i7 or 15 i5 14-inch 8GB laptop? Thanks for your content. So Bulita, you're welcome. And what is your price point? Fusion Harry asks, how is the battery? The battery's actually really good on this. It was terrible on last year's Pixel Book. I was getting like 5 hours. This I'm getting about 7 to 8, which is much better. Matt, is the audio a bit out of sync? For the live stream, it might be. That has to do with how fast it's streaming to the internet. Okay, so it's downloading right now. All right. I have a Pixel 3 XL. Is there anything the Slate can do that I can't do with my Pixel 3 XL? Yes, the Slate can run a full version of Chrome OS and Linux, which your Pixel 3 XL cannot. So you actually have access to a full-fledged browser, whereas on your mobile device, and this goes for the iPad too, you do not. Yo, Matt, is MSI Prestige a good laptop video editing and gaming? So from a gaming standpoint and from a video editing standpoint, it's fantastic. The only downfall is that you can only buy it with a 1080p 144 hertz screen. So if you want a 4K screen for 4K content, you can't get that with the MSI Prestige. Okay, where is my PUBG? Oh, that's great, it crashed. So that's the thing too, you have all these little bugs on the Chromebook that you have to deal with. So I'm gonna load up PUBG once more. What would you recommend under $800 to $900 Canadian as a tablet other than iOS that can do work and games? For $800 to $900 as a tablet. Cheap Chromebook, man. You got to look at a Chromebook. I can probably score a Pixel book for about $700. Oh, you want to run games as a tablet? Oh man. I mean, I know some laptops you can get for like $600-700 that can run games great, but for a tablet, your best option is probably an iPad. I hate to say it. Like, if you're looking at a tablet under that price point, you're still better off with an iPad. So Bavia asked, do you think this will replace my current device? Definitely not. This will never replace my current device. In fact, I enjoy using it a lot. I actually legit enjoy using this, even with all its bugs. I just feel like a nerd again, you know? Like, I don't know if anybody here is old enough, but back in the day, you know, I used to use DOS, I used to use Linux, I used to use like non-GUI interfaces. And being able to do that again and have fun at the same time on like a nerdy device, it's kind of an enjoyable experience. Okay, so I have read and agreed in the policy. Let's do this. Guest. Okay. Let's see how this runs. Matt, would you buy a good i7 8th gen and dedicated graphics card that can do school and play games like PUBG? You can probably just buy an i5 and get away with it. Unless you're talking about an 8th gen U-series CPU, you can still game on it if it has a dedicated GPU. An example of that would be like the Surface Book, but you can find stuff that's cheaper. Okay, so let's type in my name or something, whatever, create. Can you try to edit a 4K video like Jonathan Morrison? So Zarif, I already did. I had it in here. I just showed you guys the experience. If you want like a full-fledged video, I would rather edit that 4K video on an iPad than a Pixel Slate. LumaFusion is just more full-featured than PowerDirector. I mean, you can do it. It'll do it. And the footage runs pretty smooth. It's just you don't have as many features in PowerDirector as you do in LumaFusion. Okay, let's do rookie because I suck. Okay, so as you can see, it's already defaulted to low for the graphical requirements, meaning I have a feeling this is not going to run the best. So let's load this up. We're going to go ahead and play. I'm not going to play with a pen, but you get the point. Start. All right, next question. What is a good reason to buy this thing? That's a great reason. So I can't really recommend the Pixel Slate or Pixel Book to about 90% of the people that ask me about it. And it's not because it's a terrible product. It's very expensive for what it does. And I think for most people who want a Chromebook, you're better off paying $500 or less because at the end of the day, you're getting Linux, a browser, and access to Android. And I don't think you need to pay that much money to get that experience. So this device is for the last 10% of people. This is for the people that are like die-hard Chromebook fans, the ones that like live and die by Chromebooks, who absolutely love it and want the top of the end line Chromebook device. But you know what? Like Google has to make high-end Chromebooks. I mean, they need to have something for other vendors to look up to. It's just like Microsoft and their Surface line. You know, they have beautiful devices and other vendors try to compete with that, or even the MacBook Air in terms of design. So here it is. This is what it looks like. Oh, actually, it's running a lot smoother now. So when I played this earlier, it was really chuggy. But this is on low settings, and you can actually play games. So this is PUBG. I'm going to actually change this so you guys can see. Would the Surface Book or Surface Book 2 be better this since it has a dedicated GPU in the base? Oh, 100%. Like if you're using the dedicated GPU to game, do video editing, or any type of creative content, you're better off with that. Now look, when I'm talking about this device, I'm specifically comparing it to the iPad because I think that's what a lot of people associate it with. But I mean, like, if you want to have like the master of everything, then you're better off with something like a Surface Pro or a Surface Book. Okay, we're going to jump here. Is Dell G3 a budget laptop? Yes, it is a budget laptop. Matt, you perverty. I am a very big pervert. Anything else? Chromebooks for where are we dropping? I don't know. That's a good question. I think I just dropped randomly. Okay, let's go here. It's hard to see where I'm dropping because I'm on low resolution here. And as you can see, the graphic content doesn't look too good. But it is running okay. Oh, there's some lag. I'm getting some frame drops. Let's go this way. As you can see, I suck. Okay, hold on. Where am I going? I thought this looked like buildings from up top. Wow. Okay, anyways. Oh, yeah, it's getting laggy now. Do you think Chrome OS has potential to surpass Windows in the near future? No, not in the near future. It's going to take a long time and a different vision for Chrome OS to ever pass Windows. In schools, different story. I can definitely see Chrome OS passing Windows in the classroom, but like in the professional environment, or even someone who likes to game, they're going to be using Windows over this, 100%. Okay, let's see what we got here. Whoa, we got some guns, baby. So as you can see here, it is running okay. It's not the best. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't buy this to game on. It wouldn't be, I'm getting shot at. No! Boom, boom. Oh, yeah. Who needs that? I'm still getting shot at. Who's that? I feel like someone's shooting for me. Where are you? Oh, he's outside of the window. Oh, my God. Holy. I just saw him in the window. Did you see that? How'd I jump? Jump, 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 jump. Sorry, guys. This is intense. I just saw him go out the window. So anyways, Google Slate worth it for photo edit. Yeah, you could photo. Whoa. 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 Boom. Hey, get back here. Get back here. Where are you going? It's so hard to aim. Oh, my God. Oh, I got his legs. Boom. Dead. That's it. These guys have nothing on me. Okay, so next question. How are the thermals? Thermals are good. It's not hot. I don't feel any heat coming out of the back. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, it's a little hot in the bottom. Well, actually, it's a little hot over here. I'd have to test out with a heat meter, but it's not too bad at all. So as you can see, it can play PUBG, but again, you're going to have to low down those graphic settings down to low, and it can do it. But again, the experience on an iPad for gaming is so much better than this. And if your idea is to like do work and game at the same time, then you're better off with an iPad. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any more questions about the Pixel Slate? I mean, it's the Frankenstein of laptops. That's the best way to describe it. It has its use cases. It's a very nerdy, enthusiast device. It's great for the classroom. It's like the Frankenstein of laptops. You know, it just takes a little bit of everything to create this type of package. You know, you can game on it, but it's not the best experience. You have access to Linux, but it's not the full experience. You have access to Android, but they're Android apps, so they look funny on a tablet. But yet, the most like niche thing about this thing is obviously Chrome OS. Being able to use a full-fledged browser while still having access to all of your files, being able to connect pretty much anything you want to it, and having that type of scenario. What about Galaxy Tab? Galaxy Tab is an Android tablet. I don't recommend it. Will you review the Razer Blade Stealth? Yes, it's coming in. Stay tuned for that. Chromebooks are only good because you don't need internet security. Yes, I totally forgot to touch on that feature. So Jimmy Barker is bringing up security. That is probably one of the best things about a Chromebook is security. Because it gets patched like every 3 to 4 weeks, you are always getting the latest security updates, which is very, very important. So, you know, if you're a student, you want to keep things secure, or if you're in like more of a work environment, having that security is kind of nice. Your voice bleeds my ears. That's exactly what your mom's... Actually, I should not be getting involved with these trolls. What is the best laptops to get? Windows, Dell, Windows, or Apple? It depends on what you're doing. Like Windows, like for me, I use Windows because I use Adobe Premiere and I like to game. That's something I can't do on a Mac. Well, I can do that on a Mac, but the experience is better on Windows. If you don't care about gaming and you don't use Adobe Premiere like me, and you're just doing basic productivity and you love Mac OS, then you're probably better off getting a MacBook. It just really depends what you're doing. Galaxy Tab S4 does have Linux support with Ubuntu. It works on my S8. It does, but again, I mean, you have to install Linux. I mean, I guess you could use a Mozilla to browse the internet, but you're still using Android, which means you're kind of still stuck to using a mobile browser, right? So why are flagships removing the headphone jacks? Because the displays are removing the bezels. They're getting thinner. They're getting smaller to hold in your hand. And a lot of companies are saying that they don't have the space for them anymore. And it's just a big push for people to buy wireless headphones. How can Chrome really be used for real work? Well, because it's a desktop browser, because it's a desktop browser, you can use Microsoft Office, you can use Google Docs. You basically have that full experience. Whereas on a mobile browser, I mean, yeah, you can log in to like Microsoft Docs or Google Docs or Microsoft Office, but it's not the same as having that full browser. And even if you're like, let's say for example, a lot of works have their own kind of portals that you log into through the web. If it's on a mobile phone, the experience might not work. Whereas if it's a full-fledged browser, you have access to all the utility. Which process would be better to run AutoCAD? So for AutoCAD, it depends what you're doing. If you're doing 2D work, for AutoCAD in general, more cores the better. So the H-series processor would make a lot more sense. It just comes down to whether you need a discrete GPU or not. If you're doing a lot of 2D work, you can get away with not having a powerful discrete GPU because it's all CPU. But if you're doing 3D work, then you're going to want a dedicated GPU because 3D relies heavily on that. What is the best thing on Mac OS? Probably just the simplicity, the way it works. People just like the way it functions over Windows. Continuity, being able to have AirPlay AirDrop, being able to have iMessage on it so you don't have to switch back and forth between your phone. You can continue off on it. Just that whole like connected system is a very enjoyable experience on the Mac. I wish I could use a Mac, but for what I do, it just makes a lot more sense to use Windows. What Chromebook is better, the Google Pixel or the Google Pixel Book? So from a hardware standpoint, the Pixel Slate is a more powerful device. But from a form factor, I prefer the Pixel Book. What is your favorite tablet right now? What's the best tablet in your opinion? 100% the iPad. I think if you're just buying a tablet, the iPad is still the best tablet you can buy, period. And that's just the way it is. I mean, if you're buying an Android tablet, the only thing you should be doing on it is using it for consuming media. But for everything else, if you want a little bit more, the best for gaming, the best for, tablet-specific apps, iPad is the best. What's your favorite, best for video editing, MacBook or Windows laptop? So if you're using Adobe Premiere, Windows laptops are better because it uses NVIDIA GPUs, and NVIDIA GPUs have CUDA cores, and CUDA cores work better with Adobe Premiere when it comes to like rendering and stuff. But if you're using obviously Final Cut, then your only option is to use a MacBook, and you're gonna get like the best experience with it because Apple did a good job optimizing the hardware and software to take a big advantage of QuickSync. What else? What do you think of the Vivo Nex S? I don't know. I've never used it. How can I increase the gaming battery? How can I increase the gaming laptop's life? I'm assuming you mean off of battery. You can't. Gaming on a battery is like a death sentence for any gaming laptop. You just don't do it because you get poor performance and your battery lasts for like 1 hour. You should always be plugged in if you're serious about gaming on a laptop. Still thinking whether or not I should get a 2-in-1. In case you're wondering, I'd be using it for gaming, programming, and Unity, Unreal. Any suggestions on what I should do? So if you're using it for gaming, I wouldn't get a 2-in-1 at all. I don't know why you'd want a 2-in-1 in that situation because you're not drawing and you're not sketching. I would probably just get a really thin and light laptop with like a discrete GPU. So something like the Lenovo X1 Extreme or the Dell XPS 15, those would suit you better because you have the power, the performance, and it's still fairly portable. Fusion Harry Matt, where's the review for the Nitro 5 Ryzen? Did you break it again? I actually have it in a box. The reason why I haven't reviewed it It works perfectly. Everything is fine. The reason why I haven't reviewed it is because that specific SKU is only being sold at Best Buy in the United States. And me personally, I don't feel like wasting my time doing a review for one store. So I don't think it's a great way to, I just basically don't want to waste my time. I'd rather it be a review where most of the world has access to it, or at least all of North America and Europe or something, instead of just doing a review for like one SKU that's only at Best Buy United States. Can you run a few Android apps on the Pixel Slate? Yeah, you can run tons of Android apps on the Pixel Slate. Some of them look great. Some of them don't look great. Some of them don't load up. It just depends how the Pixel Slate's feeling that day. Math. My name is not Math, but I suck at math. But he says, can graphic card UHD 620 runs games? So yes, very old games. You can do League of Legends. You can do CSGO. You can probably run Overwatch on very low settings. But I mean, it's not meant for gaming, so I wouldn't buy it for that. Really appreciate the videos, bro. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate it. You are the best. Review on the 2080 processors. Are you talking about the GPUs? If that's the case, I do have a 2080 Ti coming into the studio in the near future, so stay tuned for that. So there's no way that this thing would ever replace anyone's laptop. That's a comment from Maxi Bowler. I disagree. I think if you're someone who is just using it to browse the web, Microsoft Word, Google Docs, writing down notes with the pen, basically that type of productivity, this can totally replace a laptop. And the best part about it is you don't have to jump through hoops to do things. You can still hook up hard drives. You still have the Google Drive access. You can use it offline. Totally fine for that. And I'd rather have this over the iPad Pro for that type of experience. And just when it comes to the other things like doing creative work, then you're going to want to lean towards the iPad Pro. I'm talking specific to tablets. Obviously, regular laptops like a MacBook or a Windows laptop is still supreme for that type of stuff. But it does have its own use cases. I just think this is a very expensive product, and it's hard for me to recommend to a lot of people just because of the bugs, just because of some of the hoops you have to jump through, not as many in certain situations, and because the experience doesn't feel like, I don't know, it just feels like they're trying to do too much at once, and it just causes too many bugs. And I think most people who buy that don't want to have to go through that. They just want their device to work. Need to be carried in PUBG. Not PUBG. I can actually play PUBG quite well, just not on mobile. Fortnite, that's a different story. You're going to have to carry me, Jermaine, 100%. Legion Y530 or Acer Nitro 5. Definitely the Y530, 100%. You should also start a gaming channel. So Bavia, I actually do game on Twitch every once in a while. So if that's something you're interested in, my Twitch link will be in the description down below. Feel free to subscribe or follow, and you can watch me game. So 5 more minutes, we're going to end the stream. So lightning round. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions, and we're going to end this. Pixel Slate, which process should I go for? Definitely the i5. Don't get anything lower. You're going to hate yourself for it. i5 or above, but you'll be actually not above. Just get the i5. To replace laptops, Surface, Chromebook, iPad Pro. Well, the Surface is technically a laptop. So, I mean, it's running a full-fledged OS. So, I mean, it still has that traditional laptop feel. But yes, I do like the fact that the Surface has a metal kickstand. Any laptop that's doing this kind of stuff with like folios is a loss in my books. Like, this is just, it's like a Band-Aid solution, you know? It's like, and this goes for the iPad too. It goes for any tablet that's trying to be a laptop, and as soon as you like slap on a folio, it's like, bleh. Did you review the Razer 15 base? No, I did not. Minium CPU for 3D rendering as architect staff. So again, more cores the better. So if you can get 6 cores, that'd be great, which is what you can get this year with Coffee Lake processors on most laptops that are not the U series. Have you tried putting a bigger battery in a laptop? No, I have not. I have not actually, but that could be a good experience, depending if the laptop has room for one, but most laptops that are thin and light don't, so I have not tried that. Is it possible to install a different OS on the Pixel Slate since it's running x86? So Tom, you can install Linux on this. You can install Linux on this, you have Android on this, and it's rumored that eventually you're going to be able to boot up into Windows one day with this device. Intel Optane versus SSD. SSD all the time. I mean, Intel Optane is just a Band-Aid solution, not a Band-Aid solution, but it's like the next best step above a regular hard drive. But if you can have an SSD, I'd rather have an SSD. Dex all the way. No, not Dex all the way. Dex is trash. Will the Pixel Slate get updated? Oh my God. So Varun asks, will the Pixel Slate get updated frequently? That's the one thing the Pixel Slate does the best. This device gets literally updated every 4 to 6 weeks. Gets more updates than any other platform out there. More than iOS, more than Android, more than Windows, more than Mac OS. It is one of the most updated operating systems in the world. That's why people rave about its security. What is your best gaming laptop when you were a kid? Oh man. When I was a kid, my best gaming laptop was an Asus product. Ooh, I'd have to go pull it out. I actually have it in the closet behind me. I'll pull it out one of these days in my one of my streams. Thanks, Tom, for plugging the Discord. Make sure you guys are all on there if you have any questions. Digital art, taking notes, iPad Pro or Pixel Slate? 100% iPad. 100% iPad Pro as soon as you said digital art. If you had just said taking notes and like that's it, then I would say Pixel Slate. But because you're doing digital art, 100% iPad Pro. Can you do a MacBook Air versus Dell XPS 13 video? I don't have either of those laptops, so I can't, unfortunately. Windows all the way, baby, gets updated every week. Yeah, kind of, but not as much as the Chromebook. Hate to say it, Chromebook gets updated the most. All right, any more questions? It could be about anything. I'm going to wrap this up. This is the most important questions. Will you ever be asked tea or coffee? 100% coffee all the time. Dell versus a Lenovo. I used to say Dell, but this year, man, Lenovo has really stepped up their game. So this year, I'm going to say Lenovo. Matthew, you deserve 1 million subscribers, high quality content. Thank you, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. Do you know any kind of 2-in-1s that can game high-end games like Crew 2, Arc, and Need for Speed? 2-in-1s. I mean, I know a lot of convertibles that can. I mean, the Surface Book is like a 2-in-1. That would be an option. If you look at convertible laptops like the Dell XPS 15 2-in-1, that can game. It has like the AMD Vega and Intel processor. Same with the new HP Spectre X360. I don't recommend running it and buying it yet. I still have to review it, but that has the potential to game lightly as well. The GPU is equivalent to like a 1050 Ti. Like your vids, they are great. Thank you, buddy. Wow, you really answer a lot of questions. That's what I'm here for, man, to help you guys out. Great reviews. Thank you. Are we going to get Chromebook tablets from other companies? Yeah, there's tons of companies that have Chromebook tablets. I mean, Acer, Samsung, Dell makes them, HP, every major laptop vendor makes a Chromebook or some sort of Chromebook tablet. So if you don't want the high-end Pixel Slate, there's a lot of variety to choose from. And it's just a simple Google search will give you tons of suggestions. Is the MacBook good for gaming? No. I mean, you can game on it, but it's not. I don't recommend buying a MacBook for gaming. You're better off buying a Windows laptop. What else do we have? Okay, sweet. Thanks. Best phone under 300 Australian. Oh man, Australian dollars? That's like Canadian dollars. Probably for $300. Oh man. Like a phone from 3 years ago, maybe. Like a high-end flagship from 2 or 3 years ago. You could probably score for $300. Have you tried Lebanese or Syrian cuisine? I've tried Lebanese cuisine quite a bit, which I do love. I do love Lebanese cuisine. I've never tried any Syrian cuisine before. All right, so I mean, that pretty much wraps up this little walkthrough, first impressions, review of the Pixel Slate. The conclusion, the verdict is this. If you're someone who just browses the internet, draws, writes, not draws, takes notes, does that type of stuff, this is a great device for that. But as soon as you start getting creative on this, or as soon as you start doing photography or videography or even sketching or drawing, there's better solutions out there. If you're a hardcore nerd enthusiast like me, this is a great second device to have a lot of fun on with. If you're the 10% of people out there who love Chromebooks, you're going to love this device. But I think for 90% of people out there, this doesn't make sense for them. I don't want Google to stop. I want them to continue to make Pixel books. I want them to improve them, iterate them. They just need to make it feel like it's its own thing instead of pulling things from different areas and turning into this like Frankenstein device, because that's an experience that most people don't want. And that's an experience that most people will not feel familiar with unless you're like an enthusiast like myself. So that pretty much wraps it up. Follow me on Discord. Tom has been linking it in the chat for the past hour. Thank you guys again for joining me on this amazing live stream. Stay tuned for next week for the live stream at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, like I do every Friday. I don't know if I'm going to stream on Twitch this Sunday, but if I am, make sure to follow me on there. I got tons of videos coming out next week. I'm taking a break for the weekend, but next week, Tons of videos going to be hitting your sub boxes. Well, maybe not your sub boxes because YouTube never pushes the notifications out, but you know what I mean. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Now I'm going to do the awkward thing where I go over here and stop the stream.